As we get more of the 2021 TV lineups in our offices, we're able to put them through our tests. Like our previous reviews, we buy our products ourselves, and we just finished testing the Samsung Q78 QLED. Today we'll be discussing our findings with you. Hi, I'm Dago at TestOurRatings.com, where we help you find the best products for your needs. We tested the 55-inch Samsung Q78, which also comes in 65, 75, and 85-inch sizes. We expect the results to be valid for those as well. First, we'll start by looking at the build quality and the style of the TV. Next, we'll look at our test results for picture quality, focusing our findings when viewing different content types. We'll also go over its performance when using the TV for gaming with either Xbox Series X or PS5, and we'll also look at the PCUs. Finally, we'll be comparing the Q70A to its naming predecessor from last year, the Q70T, and other models, along with what Samsung is doing better or worse this year around. If you'd like to skip straight to our test results, then see the link in the description below. Let's start with design. Like all the new Samsung 2021 QLEDs, it's pretty thin and sleek looking, which should make it look good in any living room or setting. One thing that stands out and is different from last year's Q70T is the stand. It now has a center stand, which helps you place it on a smaller table. The stand feels cheap, but it has a cover to hide the two plastic feet, and you can remove it by sliding it out. The back of the TV is made of plastic and has a fine horizontal line edged through the back, giving it a brushed aluminum look. All of its inputs face sideways for easy access and a track along the bottom edge for better routing of cable that also stretches towards the back of the stand, giving you a clean cable management option. The borders are slightly bigger than the Q70T, but the TV is very thin, measuring 1.1 inch in max thickness, which is a lot thinner than its predecessor. It should sit flush against the wall when wall mounted with a 200x200 VESA mount. Unfortunately, it does not offer a no-gap wall mount like previous Samsung models had. Overall, it feels well built. It has a little wobble, primarily due to its thin profile and narrow stand. There's a bit of a gap around the border. Our unit arrived with some slight damage around the bottom left part of the border. It pops out a bit in a way that it shouldn't. This is just a defect in our unit alone, so it shouldn't be present on other units, and it doesn't affect the scoring. Next up, smart features. Like all Samsung smart TVs, the Q70A uses Samsung's own Tizen OS. The 2021 version performs even more smoothly than in previous years, and we didn't experience any bugs or issues like in previous years. As far as ads go, just like any other Samsung TV, ads appear on the home screen page and in the App Store, and there's no way to disable them. The remote has changed from last year's Q70T. It no longer uses disposable batteries. Instead, it comes with Samsung's new solar cell remote. It has an internal battery that you can recharge via the solar panel on the back of the remote or through USB-C, but the cable is not provided. The remote includes shortcut buttons to popular streaming apps like Netflix, Prime Video, and Samsung TV Plus. You also have access to voice control, in which you can adjust settings, change inputs, and perform searches, but not within apps. Open YouTube. The TV controls are quite simple, as it is just a single button, located underneath the Samsung's logo on the TV's bottom right side. It lets you power on, off, or change channels, inputs, and volume. Now we'll move on to the picture quality. We'll be comparing the currently available TVs, but some competing models may change as new TVs are released throughout the year. For an update comparison with the new models as we buy and test them, see a review page on our website, which is linked below. First is the contrast ratio. The contrast ratio is a relative brightness difference between white and black areas in a scene. It's considered to be a vital aspect of picture quality since a high contrast ratio helps dark scenes appear more detailed without losing details in the gray, especially when viewing TVs in a dark room. As with the Q70T, the TV uses a Samsung dual LED technology to help the contrast. Samsung's dual LED backlight, to simplify, has two types of LEDs that have different color temperatures. Instead of blocking light and lowering brightness to change the color temperature, the intensity of the two LEDs can be adjusted without reducing brightness. The Samsung Q70A has a fantastic contrast ratio, and it's amongst the highest native contrast ratios we've tested on an LED TV. This is a good thing, since like the Q60A and the Q70T, the TV does not support local dimming features. SDR peak brightness refers to how bright your screen can get when watching most standard non-HDR content. A brighter screen will help your TV overcome reflection and glare, and this TV can get very bright overall. It gets slightly brighter than the Q60A and last year's Q70T. Since there's no local dimming, The brightness does not really change with most window sizes, although this year's model still has frame dimming or CE dimming, which dims the whole screen during dark scenes. Some people may not like this as it can crush details, and unfortunately it can't be disabled. If you like to watch a lot of HDR content, then the ability to produce brighter regions of the image is important to reproduce an impactful highlight detail. While the Q70A supports HDR, it has a decent HDR brightness. It's consistent across various scenes, but the brightness highlights may be lost. At around 550 nits, it performs slightly better than the Q60A, which hits around 500 nits, like the Q70T. As requested by many, we tested HDR brightness while in game mode. With game mode enabled, HDR was slightly brighter than with it disabled. We didn't notice a difference between actual content and scenes where small highlights are dimmed, but this was due to frame dimming. As for gray uniformity, it's only okay and performed worse than last year's Q70T. The vignetting on the screen's corners and edges are noticeably darker, although it should be less noticeable with actual content. The uniformity is a bit better in near dark scenes, but you still may notice some slight clouding or unevenness depending on the content. As for black uniformity, it does a great job at it with minor clouding and blooming around bright objects. It's worth noting that gray uniformity and black uniformity can vary between units, even of the same model, so yours might perform differently than ours. Next up, viewing angle. Despite being advertised by Samsung as having wide viewing angles, the Q70A has poor viewing angles. Unlike the Q80A, which uses an IPS-type panel, the Q70A has a V8-type panel like most Samsung TVs. Images will quickly start to look washed out as you move from the center position to a side angle, making this TV less suited to a larger room with wide seating arrangements. If your TV is in a bright room, good reflection handling will help cut out the amount of glare you get from light or sunlight. The Q70A's reflection handling is decent. While it does a decent job with ambient light, we don't recommend setting it across a window or a light source, since it's not as good at diffusing direct light. Moving on to color reproduction, we found our unit to be extremely accurate out of the box. Keep in mind that this can vary between units. The gamma does not follow the target curve, which results in most scenes to be over-brightened. However, most of the colors and white balance are quite accurate. Accuracy can be further improved after calibration, resulting in an almost perfect gamma and color temperature. The remaining inaccuracies shouldn't be noticeable to the naked eye. By the way, keep an eye out for our picture settings video in the upcoming weeks. Now, let's take a look at the color gamut, which is the range of colors that TV can display. For HDR content, a wide gamut is important as it will allow you to see all the vivid colors and hues often used in HDR. The gamut of this year's model performs the same as last year's, with excellent coverage with DCI-P3 color space and fair coverage with wider Rec 2020. Its color volume is okay and seems to struggle to display very bright blues like most LED TVs. For gradient handling, the TV does a decent job and performs worse than the Q70T and the new Q60A. There's visible banding in the grays and greens, but it should be less noticeable in real content. If you want to improve gradient, you can set noise reduction to auto in the menus, but this will run the risk of possibly losing details in some scenes. This TV uses BGR sub-pixel layout. It doesn't affect the image quality, but it can affect the text clarity when using the TV as a PC monitor. For more information about that, click on the link here. By the way, if you enjoy our content, please make sure you subscribe to our channel for the latest videos or check out the website for the full review and more. By subscribing, you help us reach a wider audience and in turn help us help you find the best products for your needs. Now that we covered the TV's picture quality, let's move on to motion handling and gaming performance, starting with response time. This is how quickly one color can change to the next. A slow response time will result in a blur trail behind fast-moving objects known as ghosting. Overall, response time is impressive, slightly better than the Q80A. You shouldn't notice much ghosting in motion, but we did measure an overshoot in the 0 to 20 transitions, so you may notice some blur in dark, fast-moving scenes. Like most Samsung TVs, this TV uses a pulse width modulation to dim its backlight. The backlight of this TV flickers at 960 Hz in movie mode, which is such a high frequency that it isn't noticeable to most people. That said, while in dynamic, standard, natural, and filmmaker mode or game mode enabled, the flickering drops down to 120 Hz. To help reduce motion blur, the Q70A has an optional black frame insertion feature. This can be enabled at 60 Hz by turning on LED clear motion in the picture's clarity settings or in the Game Motion Plus menu. You can also try motion interpolation, which Samsung calls picture clarity, in the menus. This TV can interpolate up to 120 Hz low frame content, and you can learn more about that and how that works here. This does create what many refer to as a soap opera effect, so again, it's not for everybody. Due to the TV's quick response time, low frame rate content could appear to stutter since each frame is held longer. If you notice this, then enabling motion interpolation can help. The Samsung's Q70A supports FreeSync VRR or variable refresh rate natively. This reduces screen tearing and makes for a seamless gaming experience. It works without any issues at its full refresh rate range. This TV isn't officially advertised to support G-Sync. However, similarly to the QN85A and the QN90A, we found it enabled when connected to a PC with an RTX 3070 graphics card. There was screen tearing with their Pendulum video test, but it was tear-free in Destiny 2. If you notice the same thing with your Q70A, please let us know in the comments below. For you gamers out there, we're happy to say that this TV has phenomenal input lag. In game mode, it's around 10 milliseconds at 60 Hz and 5 milliseconds at 120 Hz, so gaming on this TV will feel smooth and responsive. This TV also supports 444 chroma subsampling at any of its supported resolution, except for 1440p, both at 60 and 120 Hz. So no matter if you are connected to a console or a PC, you shouldn't have no trouble displaying the image correctly. Speaking of consoles, we've recently introduced the Advanced Console Compatibility box that checks to see how well TV plays with the PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X. The Q70A has no problem supporting all the resolutions on the latest consoles. It also has an auto low latency mode that automatically switches the TV to game mode for the lowest latency. All of the available inputs are the same as both the Q70T and the Q60A. It has 4 HDMI ports, HDMI 4 being 2.1, which the Q60A lacks, and other ports being HDMI 2. Port 3 supports ARC and eARC, so you can still pass audio to a sound system while reserving 2.1 port for gaming consoles. For audio pass-through, it supports Dolby Atmos and Dolby Digital, but not DTS or DTS-X. As for the rest of the ports, there's 2 USB ports, 1 digital optical audio out, 1 Ethernet input, and a tuner input. As for sound quality, this year's Q70A performs worse than other Samsung models. It has a poor frequency response. The bass in particular is bad, and it does not get very loud. When tested, we hardly notice a difference in volumes between 60 and 100. However, we did notice some distortion at moderate listening levels, and it did get worse at max volume. So that's all of it. Overall, the Samsung Q70A QLED is a good 4K TV, having improved in a couple of ways from its predecessor, the Samsung Q70T QLED. Most significantly, in faster response times, delivering a smooth gaming experience paired with its FreeSync variable refresh rate and low input lag. While it lacks in local dimming, its high contrast ratio will give you a good experience watching movies or gaming in the dark. It has decent HDR, but unfortunately, like most VA panels, it has narrow viewing angles, making the images look washed out from the sides. The Samsung's Q70T QLED is still a solid choice. Its successor offers a couple of improvements, but it is not a big step up as you might expect. That said, the Q70T has an incredible low input lag with fantastic contrast ratio and a remarkable black uniformity, despite its lack of local dimming. It's also thin, but it's not as thin as the new Samsung 2021 lineup. The Samsung's Q80A QLED is a good TV with a different panel compared to the Q70A. The Q80A has an ADS panel, which has much wider viewing angles. It also gets significantly brighter in HDR, so highlights stand out the way they should. However, the Q70A has a VA panel with much better contrast ratio and improved black uniformity. On the other hand, the Q80A with full array local dimming will be perceived better in a dark room, but it does have visible blooming around bright objects and it's noticeable around subtitles. So that's it. What do you think of the Samsung Q70A? Is the Q70A going to be on your must-buy list? Let us know below. If you liked the video, please subscribe to our channel or become an insider on our website for first access to our latest results. Also, we are currently hiring in our offices in Montreal for various positions. So if you want to help people find the best products for their needs, have a look at our career page on our website. You can check out all of the measurements on our website. If you like this video, please subscribe to our channel. So that's it. Thank you for watching and see you next time.